Have you ever wondered how criminal sentences are decided? In England and Wales, sentencing rules come in two main forms: statutory rules, which are set by Parliament and included in legislation, and sentencing guidelines, which are set by the Sentencing Council. Let's take a look at each, using non-domestic burglary as an example. The statutory maximum sentence set by Parliament is 10 years imprisonment for a single offence. This tells sentencers what is the highest possible sentence they can impose for non-domestic burglary, but not much more than that. Should a young person acting on impulse receive the same sentence as a group of organised offenders? And should the individuals in that group all receive the same sentence, even if they play different roles in the burglary? You probably have your own thoughts on this, and so do the sentencers. Cases can be very nuanced, which makes sentencing them consistently difficult. That's where sentencing guidelines come in. They give more practical guidance to sentencers, such as judges and magistrates, and must be followed in all but rare cases. Guidelines help sentencers weigh up different factors of a crime and divide them into different categories based on seriousness. The first factor measured is how much blame is attributed to the offender, known as culpability. The young person acting on impulse could be considered less culpable than a group of organised burglars, and the ringleader could be considered more culpable than someone who was pressured into the crime. The other measure is harm done, which in the non-domestic burglary guideline includes financial loss as well as any emotional suffering caused. Based on these factors, the guidelines give us different sentencing categories. The highest category gives sentences a starting point of 2 years custody. This may be increased to over 5 years based on aggravating factors such as previous convictions or racial motivation, or reduced to 1 year based on mitigating factors such as remorse or voluntary reparations. All sentences in England and Wales must follow the same guidelines when sentencing to ensure consistency and justice. Do you think sentences are appropriate? Perhaps you think current sentences are too harsh or too lenient. A recent survey commissioned by the House of Commons Justice Committee found that 71% of people thought sentences in England and Wales were too lenient. 30% thought that sentences were getting shorter. Although in fact, average custodial sentence length has increased by an average of 37% in 10 years. To put these numbers into context, we can see that the average custodial sentence length in England and Wales is longer than many of our European neighbours. So what really influences sentence length? The news often focuses on stories of people avoiding prison based on personal circumstances. However, research tells us that personal mitigating circumstances have a much weaker impact on sentencing than other factors. Harm caused, culpability, and aggravating factors like previous convictions have far more influence on the sentence length. If you'd like to learn more about sentencing, following are some useful resources.